Last weekend, we took a ride up to Lake Champlain, which is home of the legendary sea monster Champy, and it's a fun legend in that area. This is a stop at the actual Amtrak train station where they have this train on display, and it was really interesting. At the end here, it'll give you a little story of the caboose, and this was a really cool thing. I just looked over, and this was on the side of the train station, so we thought we'd pull up and get a little video of this. We went up to Lake Champlain because we had heard that the lake was so low with the drought we've been having that we could walk out so far to where the water had been. So this is a caboose from 1946, and if you didn't get a chance to read that, I suggest maybe you can pause on it. I didn't stay at it for too long. But here's the lake, and all the things you see there should be underwater. This is the beach that is usually covered until back there where the driftwood is. So this little barrier is usually underwater, and you can see there's people walking out there. And it was just interesting because what we wanted to do was to comb the beach for little shells or rocks or, I was going to say sea glass, but it's lake glass. And instead of just finding that, we also found an interesting fossil. At the end, I took pictures of everything we found so you can see all of our treasures. But it was just an interesting thing that this is usually underwater. While I was looking on the sand, my husband was looking into the water right on the edge, and he could see bright colors of the rocks and some sea glass. But that's where he found the fossil. It's a trilobite fossil, and it's a pretty good size one. You can hold it. It's pretty big in the palm of your hand. And like I said, I'll show pictures at the end. There was a big plane coming in. I'm not sure where it was landing or what kind of plane it was, but that was interesting. We saw some geese, and there's the Lake Champlain bridge that crosses from New York, where we were, over to the Vermont side. And later in the video, we're going to take a ride down by that bridge, which the water was also very low there. So here I am just looking at all of the fun rocks. And I know we were not the first ones there getting the treasures on the beach, so we were lucky to find things. Oh, I see a piece of glass right there I might have missed picking up. But it was a really nice day. It was a beautiful day out, and we just enjoyed the weather and enjoyed the location, and it was just fun to be able to be out a little further than we usually could go. Here we are driving through the town of Port Henry. There's still some pretty nice color on the trees up there, but we drove from Port Henry down to the Champlain Bridge, and we crossed it into the Vermont side, and right there to the right is a lighthouse on Lake Champlain. We haven't been able to figure out how to get to it because it seems like maybe it's at a day use park where you have to pay, but we need to check that out. So here we crossed into Vermont, and we had turned around, and now we're coming back into New York. And that was just a fun thing to do, to say we drove to Vermont for the day. And then we went down to the shore right by the bridge. And what's interesting is this, I had done in another video, this is also the site of an old fort. There was Fort Carillon, and this is at Crown Point. You can check out that video if you want to see the Crown Point video with the ruins of the old fort. But that was just the view from there, looking back at where we had been across the lake where those boats are. Coming up, you're going to see some big rocks, and on these rocks, it's neat, there's some carving of people's names in different years, and some of them are quite old. In case you can't read the rocks, I'll put the date on top. But this part is often underwater as well, and I think certain years the water is low, so people were able to carve into the rock. So here's what we collected. My husband found an insulator, the electric insulator things, and we found some pottery, some green glass, white glass, blue glass, There's the Trilobite Fossil, and just some really interesting rocks, some bricks that have been worn down, some volcanic rock, and some neat driftwood. And it just was all kind of fun treasure. We think that one piece is marble that was cut, and there's the trilobite. I'll put some links in the description to this and other things about the lake.